Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Stefan's plan to get Gabi out of captivity. Theresa quits after Bella's shutdown. Days of Our Lives reveals that Alex Kyriakis told Theresa Donovan that they have to pull the draw on Bella since it was failing again and their biggest advertiser had dropped out. Although Alex assured Theresa he'd find another job for her, Theresa allowed. It was stylish if she quit. Alex tried to protest, but Theresa stood her ground and walked out of Titan looking emotional. At the Kyriakis manse on Thursday's day's occasion, Konstantin Meliunis said he couldn't accept Maggie Kyriakis' offer and put her in an awkward situation with her musketeers and family. Maggie didn't watch what anyone additional study and wanted to make amends for the drama Konstantin's feud with Viktor Kyriakis had brought to his life. After Maggie claimed she didn't want Konstantin to leave the country, he eventually accepted her offer and gushed over her kindness. Konstantin was fine with it being a marriage in name only and agreed when Maggie asked if they could keep the news between them for now. At the DiMera manse on Thursday's DOL show, Kristen DiMera grilled EJ DiMera and Stefan DiMera about their deal, but EJ didn't suppose he owed Kristen an explanation. EJ eventually teased Kristen about not being a DiMera by blood and exulted to Stefan about the statement PR was putting out that would trash his character. Once EJ left, Stefan refocused out that although he couldn't be DiMera Enterprises CEO presently, Kristen was a pardoned felon and could still take the throne. Kristen liked the sound of taking power down from EJ, but she wondered what Stefan wanted in return. Stefan pushed Kristen to help him get Gabi Hernandez DiMera out of captivity, so Kristen agreed to suppose about the deal. After Kristen asked if Gabi was innocent and got Stefan's evidence, she suggested that the most legal way of pulling this off was to find out who actually caused Li Xin's demise. Stefan refocused out that the police had exhausted all leads and his private investigator had come up empty, but Kristen claimed she'd find a way. Meanwhile, Trip Johnson questioned Ava Vitali about the real reason she was moving out, so Wendy Shin over here and looked concerned. Once Wendy entered, Ava offered consolation about not being in any kind of trouble and tried to move Trip. It was just time for her to go. After Ava exited, Wendy opened up to Trip about her terrible first day back at work and confessed she was spooked of putting her parents through another scary fire. Although Wendy knew Trip would want to help if Ava was in further trouble, she didn't suppose she could take another fire like the bone they faced in that tank. Trip claimed nothing like that was going to be again, but he got Wendy to suppose about perhaps talking to a professional to work through her trauma. At the cantina. On Thursday's day's occasion, Harris Michaels suggested hotting to fresh thresholds, but Ava was reluctant since she still had Clyde Weston's rearmost demand hanging over her. Harris told Ava that they'd use her keys to get back in the bistro and recoup Gil Carter's black book. When it was time to hand the book off to Clyde, Harris claimed they'd snare him and have him thrown back behind bars. When EJ showed up and mentioned Ava's dispatch abdication, he wanted her to hand over the bistro keys so that he could give them back to Stefan. Ava claimed she didn't have those keys on her and said she preferred to hand them over to Stefan anyway. Harris ended up bickering with EJ about setting Stefan free and pledged to make it his charge to find out what kind of influence Stefan had. EJ refocused out that he knew about Harris cutting a deal of his own to cover Ava, so he prompted Ava and Harris to stay on his good side. Else, at the veritably least, Harris would no longer be a police officer. Back at the Kyriakis manse on Thursday's day's occasion, Maggie looked at a framed print of herself with Viktor before gaping at her marriage ring. Maggie hoped she was doing the right thing before Theresa showed up demanding to entrust in her guarantor. Once Theresa offered updates on Bella's arrestment and her decision to quit Titan, she said she was no way good and only got the job because she pushed herself on Alex. Although Theresa felt like a total failure, Maggie criticized Alex for putting Theresa in charge of a doomed magazine. Maggie decided she wanted to have a little talk with Alex, so she paid him a visit at Titan and prompted him to bring her back on board at the company. By working alongside Alex, Maggie felt that they could restore Titan to what it formerly was and honor Viktor's heritage. At the Kiriakis' manse again, Constantine reminded Theresa to keep her end of the bargain and cinch in the other half of the Kiriakis' fortune by marrying Alex. Constantine also boasted about his own engagement to Maggie and suggested about demanding to find commodity before he could ever consider leaving Salem. Theresa was sick of this whole scheme, but Constantine hovered to gossip about Theresa hijacking Victoria Horton. After Theresa said she'd take Constantine with her if she went down, he advised her to stick to the plan or differently she'd be sorry. Days of Our Lives say Theresa will continue to land in some messy situations thanks to her plot with Constantine, so we'll bring you prognostications on all the drama that's brewing. Jada eavesdrops on Rafe, Everett deceives Stephanie, Thomas Card Trouble. Days of Our Lives reveal that Jada Hunter will listen in on an angry Rafe Hernandez as he pushes Everett Lynch to just subscribe the divorce papers formally. Everett keeps averring it be phony, but that's obviously not true since he's been fingerprinted and verified as Robert Stein. Rafe may prompt Everett to get over his pride or whatever weird torments he might have and eventually subscribe the name he was born with. Perhaps Rafe will indeed drop a hint about wanting to marry Jada eventually as he insists they need to get this squared down. Anyhow, Jada will eavesdrop Rafe trying to take charge of the situation and will love him for that. Grounded on DOOL's daily exercise videotape, this should lead to Jada prompting Rafe to ask her to move by again, and she'll be ready to accept this time around. Other days say Everett will deceive Stephanie Johnson about the progress he's timber. Although Everett will act like the hypnotherapy is working, he actually refused to let Marlena Evans put him back beneath. Speaking of Marlena, she'll be on Pall 9 as she enjoys some time with her cherished grandson. Marlena and John Black will be on babysitting duty for Jude Brady, so they'll love this chance to truly bond with the little gentleman. As for Maggie Kiriakis and Constantine Meliuni's days, spoilers say they'll have a marriage to plan. Constantine and Maggie will speed toward the balcony, but Xander Cook and Sarah Horton are going to be unsettled once the news of the imminent espousal starts to spread. In the meantime, day spoilers say Chad DiMera will hang out with Thomas DiMera as they do a little father-son cling. Will Chad discover the red card that Thomas swiped from Constantine's room? Could Thomas lose that card nearly rather? Our prognostications point to trouble no matter what since that card controls John aka the Pawn and could spark his programming again. Days of Our Lives spoilers say John has much further drama ahead of him, Jada's life-changing surprise, new sabotage plot and marriage horror. Days of Our Lives reveal that Kayla Johnson and Abe Carver will scold Paulina Price after her dangerous Chanel DiMera deliverance charge. Away, Johnny DiMera will canonize on Chanel and offer a surprise to make up for their honeymoon flight disaster. At the bistro, day spoilers say Harris Michaels will serve as the lookout while Ava Vitali searches for the black book Gil Carter left before. Although Ava won't find it, she won't give up since Clyde Weston will be grim when it comes to his demand. It won't be long until Harris and Ava return to the bistro, so they'll get sneaky again and carry out another hunt. Since Lucas Horton is still stuck at the Friary and hasn't been set free, Kate Roberts DiMera will open up to Roman Brady about her frustrations. Other day spoilers say Tate Black and Holly Jonas will steal another romantic moment as their little Romeo and Juliet saga continues. Over with Theresa Donovan, she'll try to get Alex Kiriakis to relax with a massage, but it'll end up getting him all hot and irritated. After the thickets get pumped, Kristen DiMera will supposedly view it as the perfect occasion to offer Alex a sizzling night together, for real this time. Kristen will also cloud over EJ DiMera's plan to take over DiMera Enterprises, so she'll unite with Stefan DiMera on a plot to balk their family. Latterly, Stefan and Kristen will do some assuming on who might be actually been behind Li Shin's grim fate, so they'll try to come up with commodity that could clear Gabi's name. After Eric Brady grills Sloan Peterson Brady about the unexplained missing plutocrat, he'll launch a disquisition that leads to Leo Stark and questions about his extended stay at the Salem Inn. Next, Brady Black will partake some gladdening scenes with Nicole DiMera as they get their fellowship back on track. Brady will also serve as a shoulder to cry on during a discussion with Theresa, who'll entrust him about feeling like a total failure across the board. As for Jada Hunter, she LLB stunned when Stephanie Johnson offers updates on the divorce papers that V comes such a hassle.